You know, when you think about brain surgery, it's always felt like, well, the final frontier of medicine, right? A place of just immense risk and incredible skill. But what if I told you that frontier is being completely redrawn? And not just by human hands, but by a revolution in technology. Let's get into it.
Okay, so before we jump into the future, we really have to get our heads around just how insanely difficult this has always been. I mean, we're talking about operating on the human brain. It's a world of unbelievable risk, where the difference between success and total disaster can be, well, the width of a human hair.
And that's not an exaggeration. For decades, surgeons have been navigating this just impossibly complex organ. The quote really says it all. It's a territory where millimeters matter and uncertainty can change everything. Think about that. That tiny, razor-thin margin for error has defined the entire field. It demands a level of precision that's, well, it's almost superhuman.
So that's the big question, right? How in the world do you safely navigate the most complex thing we know of in the entire universe? For the longest time, the only answer was pure, unadulterated human skill. But now we're starting to see a whole new set of answers emerge, and they're coming from the world of data, robotics, and AI.
So get this, the operating room is getting a massive upgrade. We're talking about a whole suite of digital tools that are basically acting as copilots for surgeons. And this is completely changing the game. Seriously, this isn't some far-off science fiction anymore. This is the new reality of neurosurgery, happening right now.
First up on the team, robotics. We're talking about systems that let surgeons perform these super complex procedures through tiny little openings, sometimes smaller than a coin. And they do it with a perfectly steady hand and accuracy that's down to the sub-millimeter level. It's a total game changer, especially for what's called minimally invasive surgery.
All right, next up is something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, the digital twin. Imagine this, a perfect virtual replica of a patient's brain. It lets surgeons literally practice the entire operation beforehand. They can test different routes, figure out what might go wrong, and plan for it, all before a single incision is made. It's like having the ultimate roadmap to a safer surgery.
And if that digital twin is the map, then you can think of AI as the expert navigator. This AI sifts through thousands of past surgeries and scans, spotting these tiny, subtle patterns in brain structures and surgical outcomes that a human just couldn't. Its job? To map out the absolute safest route for the surgeon, avoiding critical areas, suggesting the best angles. And during the operation itself, it's like this invisible assistant, constantly feeding real-time data to the surgeon.
And look, this tech isn't just about being more precise, it's also about being way more efficient. Some recent studies are showing that having AI assistants in the operating room can slash the total surgery time by up to 30%. That is a huge deal. It means less risk for the patient on the table, and it helps kickstart the whole recovery process that much faster.
But honestly, all this cool technology, it's more than just a technical marvel. The real story here, the one that truly matters, is the incredible impact it's having on patients' lives. It's literally building a better, faster path to healing.
Because these tools make those minimally invasive surgeries possible, the benefits for the patient are, well, they're immediate, and you can really feel them. We're talking about way less physical trauma to the body. And what does that mean? It means less pain after surgery, a lower risk of infection, and a recovery process that is just dramatically faster.
Okay, let's put a human face on this. Think about this story. A 42-year-old teacher in Beijing. She had to have a really complex brain tumor removed using these exact technologies. Now, normally that would mean a long, grueling recovery. But instead, she was back in her classroom with her students in just 10 days.
Just 10 days. I mean, let that sink in. That is an absolutely incredible leap forward. It's proof that these advancements aren't just changing how we do surgery, they're restoring lives with a speed we've never seen before.
You know, that teacher's story really brings home this simple truth. The real measure of any medical innovation isn't how fancy or sophisticated the tech is. It's about its impact. It's about how many human lives it can improve.
So, where does this all leave us? What does this mean for the future? Well, it looks like we're heading into a brand new era, an era of partnership. And that brings with it incredible promise, but also some new responsibilities we absolutely have to talk about.
The promise part is pretty clear, right? We're talking safer, smarter, more personalized surgery for everyone. But, and this is a big but, with this kind of power comes huge responsibility. Big questions start to pop up, Like, how do we protect all this incredibly sensitive patient data? And maybe even more important, how do we make sure this revolutionary technology gets to everyone who needs it, not just the lucky few?
So I want to be really clear about this. This is not a story about machines replacing doctors. Not at all. What this is, it's a story about a powerful new partnership where the incredible expertise of a human surgeon is amplified by the precision of these digital tools. And that, right there, leads to what might be the most important takeaway of all. No matter how advanced the robots get or how smart the AI becomes, the core of medicine is always going to be human. The scalpel might be guided by an algorithm, sure, but the critical decision-making, the connection with the patient, the compassion, that all comes from the surgeon. Empathy is still the most critical instrument in that room.
So as this frontier keeps blurring, as the line between human skill and machine precision gets fainter and fainter, we're left with a really deep question to think about. In this new world of digital copilots and virtual brains, what does it truly mean to heal? It's a question we're all going to have to answer together. Thanks for joining me on this.